The Indian economy is classified on the basis of nature of economic activities as primary, secondary and tertiary. On the basis of employment conditions, the economy is classified as organized and unorganized. On the basis of ownership, the Indian economy is classified as private and public. This chapter deals with these sectors in detail. Now let us come to primary sector. When we produce goods by exploiting natural resources, it is an activity of the primary sector. Example: agriculture, dairy farming, mining, plantation, etc. Primary sector produces natural goods. Secondary sector. When natural products are changed into other forms through manufacturing, it is also called industrial sector. Example: food processing, textile manufacturing, automobile manufacturing, furniture making, etc. Secondary sector produces manufactured goods. Tertiary sector. Activities that help in the development of the primary and secondary sectors. Since these activities generate services rather than goods, it is also called the service sector. For example, transportation, banking, marketing, information technology, etc. Tertiary sector helps to develop other sectors. To calculate the value of goods to find GDP, let us take an example. Suppose we have wheat that is rupees 8 per kg. Then wheat changes into flour that is rupees 10 per kg. And finally, the flour is made into biscuits rupees 15 per packet. Here wheat and flour are intermediate goods, whereas biscuits are final products. So in order to calculate the GDP, we only calculate the value of the final products. That is, the biscuits. The value of final goods already includes the value of all the intermediate goods that are used in making the final good. The value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the total production of the sector for that year. And the sum of production in the three sectors gives what is called the gross domestic product (GDP) of a country. It is the value of all final goods and services produced within a country during a particular year. GDP shows how big the economy is. The Central Statistics Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program calculates the GDP of India. Now let us compare the GDPs of each sector. As we can see, the share of primary sector was 3 lakh crore in 1973-74. It grows to 9 lakh crore in 2013-14. In the secondary sector, the share 1 lakh crore rose to 17 lakh crores. And in tertiary sector, 2.5 lakh crores rose to 34 lakh crores. But if we look at the number of people working in each sector, then primary sector has 74% people in 1972-73, which goes down to 49% in 2011-12. In the secondary sector, only 11% people were working in 1972-73, which rose to 24% in 2011-12. In the tertiary sector, the number of people were 15%, which rose to 27% in 2011-12. By these two comparisons, we can conclude that about 50% of the people in the country are working in the primary sector in India, but they contribute only 13% of GDP of India. So, workers in the agricultural sector are underemployed. This kind of underemployment is hidden in contrast to someone who does not have a job and is clearly visible as unemployed. Hence, it is also called disguised unemployment. So the question arises here is, How can more employment be generated? Or what are the measures to reduce unemployment? There are a number of possible solutions of this question. First is Rural Works Program. This program aims at construction of civil works of permanent nature in rural areas. The Integrated Dry Land Agricultural Development. Under this scheme, permanent works like soil conservation, development of land water harvesting are undertaken. Third is National Rural Employment Program. This program aims at creating community asset for strengthening rural infrastructure, drinking water wells, community irrigation wells, village tanks, rural roads and schools. The fourth is Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program. It aims at generating gainful employment, creating productive asset in rural areas and improving the overall quality of rural life. Have a look at some more measures that can be taken to reduce unemployment. It is government should promote local handcrafts, tourism, IT, etc. Loans from local banks should be provided to the people for self-employment. Government should implement some targeted programs for unemployed. Planning Commission, now it is known as Niti Aayog, estimates that nearly 20 lakh jobs can be created in the education sector alone. To improve the health situation, we need many more doctors, nurses, health workers, etc. These measures can be taken to reduce the unemployment in our country. One major decision taken to give work to the rural population was MGNREGA 2005. The central government in India made a law implementing the right to work in about 625 districts of India. It is called Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005, that is MGNREGA 2005. Under MGNREGA 2005, all those who are able to and are in need of work in rural areas are guaranteed 100 days of employment in a year by the government. If the government fails in its duty to provide employment, it will give unemployment allowances to the people. Now classify the sectors of Indian economy into employment conditions. The first one is organized sector. Those enterprises or places of work where the terms of employment are regular and therefore people have assured work, rules and regulations are being followed, they are organized sector. For example, banks, railways, hospitals, etc. The another one is unorganized sector. It is characterized by small and scattered units which are largely outside the control of the government. There are rules and regulations, but these are not followed. Example, daily wage workers, domestic workers, etc. Now the question arises here is, why does workers in the unorganized sectors need to be protected? So in the urban areas, unorganized sector comprises mainly small-scale industry, casual workers in construction, trade and transport, street vendors, headload workers, garment makers, rag pickers, etc. In the rural areas, the unorganized sector mostly comprises of landless agricultural laborers, small and marginal farmers, and artisans such as weavers, blacksmiths, carpenters, goldsmiths. A majority of workers in the unorganized sector are from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and backward communities. Besides getting the irregular and low-paid work, these workers also face social discrimination. They are looked down upon by the people in the urban areas. Protection and support to the unorganized sector workers is thus necessary for both economic and social development. Nearly 80% of the rural households in India are in small and for timely delivery of seeds, agricultural inputs, credit, storage facilities, and marketing outlets. Next, we can classify the sectors of Indian economy on the basis of ownership. The first one is public sector. In this sector, Government owns most of the assets and provides all the services. For example, railways, banks, etc. The second one here is private sector. In this sector, ownership of assets and delivery of services is in the hands of private individuals or companies. For example, shopping complexes, restaurants, private hospitals and schools, etc. But the question arises here is, why should government spend large sum of money on public sector? Public sector promotes the economic development since it brings about creation and expansion of infrastructure. Public sector provide for various employment opportunities, and higher employment opportunities implies higher generation of financial resources for economic development. Public sector majorly contribute to the Human Development Index since health and education industries come under the purview of public sector. Public sector helps in availability of goods at moderate rates, which helps in maintaining financial security and thus helps in economic development. It provides encouragement to small, medium and cottage production units. It also strives for the creation of welfare state. So these points can be noted down as a question that can be asked in the examination. Next, we have some terms that is very important for this chapter. The first one is gross domestic product, then is unemployment, then is underemployment. These three definitions need to be noted down and learned. Further, this was the summary of the chapter The Sectors of Indian Economy, Economics Class 10. Keep watching the videos and comment for encouragement. Thank you.